guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a first impressions video for you, and I've got, as you can see, a number of QSP knives here. Now, this all came out of, in fact, one QSP knife, and that's this one right here. This, whoops, there you go. This is the Pelican, I think so, unless it's the Puffin. Let me just confirm. Nope, that's the Pelican. So yeah, Pelican right there. So this came out of the Pelican. When I saw this design, I touched base with QSP. I said, hey, that thing is really nice. They sent back saying, hey, this was a prototype, whatever. When they're available, we'll shoot you out one for review. So eventually they got in touch with me again. I said, yeah, I'd like to check that out. They had a couple of other knives that I was interested in. One of them was this fixed blade. I think it's called the Workaholic. The other was this titanium frame lock called the Puffin. And so I mentioned that, I'd be interested in all of these knives. Or I really said, hey, these are the knives I'm most interested in. Any one that you want to send is fine by me. That'd be great. And they sent them all. So thanks a lot to QSP for sending these along. I'm pretty stoked to be able to check these out. Now, I want to do a quick rundown on each one of these with you. And so let's go ahead and get the boxes out of the way. I'll just say this by way of sort of in passing. The packaging is pretty nice. So this has got the cutout foam. This guy ships with a knife pouch with a microfiber cloth in there. That's the Pelican. And the fixed blade was just a box, and it came with a bit of paracord and a Torx bit and some silica gel. And so there's the knives up for discussion. And let me just give you the specs on these. I'll kind of give you a rundown, and then I'll go ahead and move on to sort of what I think of each one and what I've noticed just upon initial inspection. So the first one is the Puffin here that I'll tell you about. Really, really nice looking little knife, beautiful carbon fiber. It's got a bit of a contour to it, which is actually really, really nice. Smaller, of course, than I usually like, but this is one of those times where I had an opportunity. Since I'm not buying this knife, I always think, hey, I know there's people on the channel who like the smaller stuff, so I try to get some smaller stuff for you guys. Obviously, I don't, I'm not really interested in owning knives of this size, so I don't really buy them for my own collection, but every once in a while, if I can get an opportunity to get one for the channel, I go ahead and do that because I know there's a few of you who like that. So this guy is 3 ounces. It's 7 1/8 inches overall. 3 1/16 on the blade, 4-inch handle, 3-inch grip area, and of course it's S35VN in a titanium frame lock. We've got this very attractive carbon fiber inlay on this side, and then just a little bit of just a flat slab over here, milled pocket clip, and a bit of milling there, as well as sort of a decorative style of relief cut. The blade up front here is S35VN. I think I already mentioned that. You got the QSP symbol there, a little bit of a cutout, and then grinder satin on the flats and bevels. They are multi-directional, which I kind of like. They've gone with this triangle on the pivot. I'm trying to think back to when I reviewed the Copperhead, whether or not it had the same little triangle there, and I just can't remember. So if someone wants to inform me or remind me down in the comments below, that's fine. In the meantime, of course, I'll check before I do the full review. Nice little knife. There is one glaring issue here, and everything else is fantastic, but I cannot for the life of me open this one-handed. I can every once in a while. No, not that time. No, can't do it. So predominantly for me, this has been a two-hand opening knife. Now, I still like the knife. I often do the little pinch move that I'm sure many of you have done before. If you get a really stiff D10 or something, I've seen people do this. So I'll do a pinch and push, and then it opens one-handed. But the cutout here needs to be more accessible. So QSP, if you're watching this, I like this design a lot. I hope you don't abandon it, but I suspect you'll get some problem with people who want to be able to open that knife one-handed and are unable to do so. Certainly I have that problem. Maybe if you had finer, slighter fingers than me, you might be able to open it. There we go. I did pull off a Spidey flick there, but it's pretty difficult. They really need to make this more accessible. Otherwise, though, everything about this knife is great. Like the action is nice. It's on bearings, beautifully finished. Really, really nice knife. And I don't know how much I mind opening it two-handed. It's not really a knife that I would use or carry a whole lot anyway, because it's smaller than what I like to see. So, Yeah, so there you go. Great design. One little hiccup there, and it's going to depend on, maybe you like this knife enough that you're going to forgive that little problem. Maybe not. I'll leave that up to you guys as individual viewers. But for me, that's an issue, not being able to open the knife one-handed. Moving over to the Pelican, I've got to say I'm pretty impressed with this one. Micarta S35 VN steel. Let's see, what size is this guy? 8 3/8 inches overall. So that's more in my size range. 3 11/16 on the blade, 4 11/16 handle. Good 4 inches of grip area, and it weighs in at 4.5 ounces. Now, a bit of a fingerprint magnet there on that blade. Let me see if I can wipe it off for you. There we go. That's a teeny bit better. Anyway, S35 Vienna on that really cool sort of Warncliffe sheep's foot blade. I like the grinder satin finish that they've left on it. The micarta is beautiful, and it's got a blue anodized milled titanium clip. It is a single position clip, liner lock, and it's very heavily milled out. You can take a look in there. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, you can see how heavily milled out that is, which is pretty darn nice. Yeah, this knife I definitely like an awful lot. I don't know why I'm having so many problems with it here on camera, but uh, I haven't had any of those problems when I was testing it out. Just now that I turned the camera on, that's sort of the way life goes, right? Yeah, so pretty cool knife. Definitely the one out of these three that I'm most sort of impressed by. The lockup is super early, and it has just a teeny bit of lock stick. I don't even know if it's appropriate to call it lock stick, but there's just a little bit of a pop there as I push that lock bar over. Yeah, really, really cool design. I love the micarta. Feels good in hand, and of course, S35VN. Nice thin grind on this, by the way. Now, this is not always true, but most of the time, if you see a really small secondary bevel, that is usually an indication of a very thin grind behind the edge. So good edge geometry on that guy. All right, let's move this guy out of the way. And we've got one more knife to take a look at. That is this fixed blade. Really attractive fixed blade. I love the micarta handle here. Ergonomics are quite nice. The blade shape is quite nice. They call this knife the Working Man. Now, there is one issue that I have, and actually I should run down the materials and stuff like that and the size before I get to that. 6.9 ounces with the sheath. All right, 6.9 ounces with the sheath, 7 7/8 overall on the knife itself. When you put it in the sheath, it goes up to 8.5 inches, 3.5 inches on the blade, 4 inches on the handle, and 3.5 inches of grip area. Now, the steel on this guy is N690 steel, which is an adequate steel. It's not a favorite of mine. Going to perform, in the realm of VG10 or something along those lines. Pretty nice for a budget knife. And really that's where N690 belongs, is on budget knives. For some reason, you'll see it sometimes on some expensive knives, usually made in Italy. I don't know why, but the Italians seem to think that N690 is, just a super high-end premium steel, when it absolutely is. When, maybe it is. Maybe it's really costly, but whatever the price of it, the performance is not there to match up to it. So, those are the three knives from QSP. Let's get them all back out here. Oh, you know what? I'll leave these in just for something to look at, but I will talk about this sheath. So here is the sheath for the Working Man. And it's not a horrible sheath, but they've kind of missed on the attachment point here. It's pretty narrow, and it's really, really difficult to get most belts through there. So if you wanted to carry this sort of scout carry, it's one set up backwards for that, so you'd have to draw left-handed. You could do sort of a kidney carry like that, or you can do, regular belt carry, but even that is just a little awkward. The sheath on this knife kind of feels like an afterthought, and that is a little frustrating because the knife itself is fantastic. It's very comfortable. Really, really a nice size, especially if you're like me and you like to EDC a fixed blade sometimes. This is a really, really good contender for a very nice EDC fixed blade, but the sheath needs to be Kydex to fit that roll very well. And I mean, all knife sheaths should just be Kydex at this point. So if someone from QSP is watching, it would be great to see this sheath updated. That's about the only complaint I have about this knife. Otherwise, I'm very, very happy with it. So there you go, guys. That's my first impressions on these 3 knives from QSP. I will spend some time with them, carry them, use them, all that good stuff, and then come out with a review in a couple of months' time, or however long it happens to take before I feel comfortable sharing my conclusions with you guys, before I feel like essentially I've drawn good solid conclusions. That's what I wait for. All right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want one of these knives before my review comes out, head over to White Mountain Knives. I'll put a link in the description box, and you can use my discount code SHARPSTUFF to save yourself a bit of money. They have some other QSP models over there as well you might want to check out. All right, thanks a lot, guys. We'll talk to you soon.